also going to be saving up a battery and deploying that battery to try to defend as much as possible.
Hello everyone and welcome back to AC Season 3 Indycar, and today we are at Francorchamps, an absolutely amazing track. Joining me today is John in the commentary booth, as always, and I'm looking forward to this one quite a lot, as it is a track a lot of drivers are familiar with. It's not a DLC track, it's a part of the game itself. You see the advertisements for Canoe Simulation in the background there for Germany, and the drivers are well acquainted around here, and I've heard the IndyCar is an absolute blast to drive around here. Welcome, John.
Hi, yeah, this is definitely, I would say this is probably one of the most popular and famous tracks, not only in sim racing, but in the world itself. This is just got so much flavor and spice, and it's got one of the most legendary corners of all time. Of course, I'm speaking of Eau Rouge and Raidillon. And then it's got the Kimmel Straight.
As we see Ruben spinning.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah. Yeah, right now a lot of stuff going on right now on the start-finish straight. We're seeing the end of qualifying. They have about 8.5 minutes left to set a fast lap here, and this is this is about a little bit over 7 kilometers long. So there's a lot of ground. You'll see a little bit less than 2-minute laps from these drivers.
Yeah,
and as we see, most people in the 155s.
Yeah, so obviously F1 drivers, they can get around here on around low 140s, so it's quite a big difference still compared to the F1 car, but it's still very fast indeed, as GT3 cars are about, let's say, about 20 seconds slower, if not more, than these Indy cars around this track. Absolutely great track to drive around on. We'll go on board with, I think we'll go on board with my brother at some point, but he has to set a lap time first for that to be able to be shown on stream at the moment, because I cannot select it yet due to how AC works. There he is. He set a lap time. Let's go on board and take a peek around the circuit. Let's see if I can try to find a good angle. And there is one. Oh, as he gets very sideways out of the turn 1 there. Gets the power down, coming into the Rouge Radiant section. Is he going to lift, or is he going to take a flat? I think he's taking this flat, and indeed he is. It's easy flat in these cars, some cars you have to lift them. But most race cars you can take a flat. So you see down the Camel Straights now. Beautiful long section, nice orange autumn trees on the side there. Straight into the hard braking zone after the Camel Straights. This is a right-hander and then a left-hander. Very quick succession. Get on the power early. Make sure you don't spin up the tires too much, because that is quite easy to do there. Anyways, into No Name now. As it gets a little bit of a lock up here, a little bit of a glitch as well. I don't really know what's happened there. It gets the car rotating nice and gently. This section right here is really fun, as he gets the power down hard right before he goes into Buhon. Buhon in these cars I think will be absolute saints. He might have to lift a little bit, but definitely wouldn't need to brake. Looks like he shifts down. Has to lift a bit more than he would have liked to, but it's okay. After Buhon is the fast right left-hander section here. Let's see if he's able to get onto the curbs, maximize his track usage, get on the power. Looking nice and tidy so far. Aldi has also mentioned he's just about getting used to his new brakes, so that is also something I was supposed to keep in mind during his lap time. But anyways, let's see. He comes towards the back straight now. I forget what the left-hander is called already. It's a bit embarrassing. Anyways, into the fast left-hander, down into the final 2 corners now of the bus stop chicane. Hard braking zone, so it's quite easy to lock up. It looks like he does lock up a little bit as well, goes a little bit deep. Has to try and take a little bit of a tighter turn in to make the next corner. Gets on the power early. Second gear, third gear, does actually improve by quite some margin, but not enough to increase his lap times. He instantly slams onto the brakes to reset himself to the pit lane.
Yeah, this track is, I mean, you know, you hop in, if you're used to this track in GT3, Formula 1, or some other car type, you get into a different car and it's like you have to relearn a new track. This, it just cars, the elevation here is insane, and the different types of corners here are also pretty ridiculous. So you basically have to relearn the whole track every single time you hop in a new car. A lot of these guys, when Spa was announced for this season, they're gonna have to put a lot of work into it, because these cars just behave very differently than what most people are used to or accustomed to. So, you know, stuff like we saw after No Name, that big long sweeping left turn, you might have to lift, and then you kind of coast a bit and then feel when your car bites on that traction, and then you can just put the power down so that you get a really nice catapulting exit that we're seeing from these drivers.
Yeah, and I've done a few rounds myself in this series before I became the commentator, and it is definitely a very tricky car to drive indeed. There is no assists of any shape or form, so it's very mechanical, super enjoyable to drive. Currently riding with Ruben Lampe, who is making his debut race today. He was a full-time driver. He signed up for the whole season. He, sadly due to work reasons, was not able to compete. However, he is now able to come here today and showcasing an absolutely beautiful livery that pays tribute to the Arrows car in F1 from the early 2000s. And you can see there's the orange livery that Jos Verstappen drove in back then. Now, this livery was made by one of the drivers here as well, Forrest McCormack, or some of you guys might know him as Pixel, who's currently actually sitting in P7. So I just want to quickly a little shout out to that livery. We mentioned every race how the custom liveries are just absolutely amazing, and this is another one that just looks super good. And behind him we have the person who's currently in P3 of Van den Hudding, trying to complete his outlap as well. He might have to put a little bit of a space in between him and Ruben. So there's two Rubens, not to get confused, but Ruben and Ruben together on track. And one is on a hot lap and the other one's on an outlap. Van den Hudding is one on the outlap. Anyways, we're starting to see drivers dip into the 154s. It's actually Silvazzi and Medved have both gotten a 154.883, so they've set the exact same lap time, but Silvazzi set it first. That is why he's shown in P1.
Yeah, we don't see exact lap times very often. I think this is probably one of the first times I've ever seen that on an online race. A 154.883. That's pretty cool, and that kind of shows you how close these guys are in skill. I mean, starting from P1 to P8, it's 2-3 second difference on a 7 kilometer track. It's pretty crazy. So I think it's going to be a pretty competitive race today.
Yeah, I hope so too. And definitely, we have a new safety car driver here today as well. Let's not forget to mention him. Joining us instead of the normal driver, Vito. Vito, unfortunately, has to put up his shoes for this week only, as he is upgrading his wheel and has sold his old one. So he's currently wheelless, but he's getting his new wheel in very soon, and I'm sure he's really looking forward to that one. It's a huge upgrade. But anyways, in the meantime, we have a new driver of some of you guys might know him as Justin That Racer. He is the manager for Tier 1 here in the US, and he also races in SLR. So he is going to be the safety car driver for today. Hopefully, we'll see him doing the right calls and all that things. Vito has been a great safety car driver throughout the season, and I'm pretty sure Vito has taught Justin the ways of being a good safety car driver. And Justin, as before in chat, was a bit unsure, a little bit. Some of the corners he said he was sliding around and maybe pushing a bit too hard, but hey, if if the safety car crashes, then that's a bit of extra entertainment for you guys. I don't think it will happen, but there is always that possibility, as we are running a safety car driver with a real life driver. But Justin is a very competent racer, so I do think we'll not have any issues.
Yeah, if we do get a safety car this race, then you guys will be able to check out the custom safety car livery that our community has for the 2S races. It's pretty cool that we're able to do that in a game that came out in 2014. How lively this community is, that there's all this customization.
Yeah, that's a step up to the game really. In AC, I don't think Kunos realized how much potential the game had when they released it, and then the two Russian modders in their basement just made it insane what you could do with this. But anyways, Van den Hudding sets a provisional pole time with a 1:54.6, so he has managed to jump both Medved and Salvasi. They're both of these drivers are in the pit lane, so they're actually the only other driver who might be able to challenge them or get into the top 3 positions is Leglaf at the moment on track. I'm just watching him, but also Ioannidis is very closely behind on time. There's 3 drivers setting 1:55.4, so actually really close to match on pace, but most of them in the pits. Let's see if Leglaf is able to coming across the line now. Is he able to improve? He does not improve, I don't think. Well, he does improve his lap time, but it's not enough to jump up into the P3 position. Ioannidis also on the lap at the moment. He still has a last sector to go as he comes into the long straight before Blanchimont. Let's see what he is able to produce. Let's go on board with him. Let's see, that's a good angle there, the front splitter cam. Velasco manages to improve his lap time, but it still stays in P7. So Ioannidis now coming up towards the bus stop chicane. Is he able to jump 3 or 4 drivers here in the qualifying positions? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, there are 2 more drivers here today. They just decided not to qualify, and they are Timo and Fischer. Anyways, Ioannidis crosses the line, and he does not manage to improve. He does a 1 second slower lap, actually. So he must have made a mistake somewhere. But yeah, so I mentioned Timo and Fischer not driving. Timo, one of the championship contenders, but his championship rival, Levi Zanto, is not here today. So I think that's maybe why he decided to start from the back of the grid. So maybe have a bit more exciting races. He has had quite a few dominating races so far.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be very important to the championship. And it's nice of Timo to start from the back.
Yeah, I guess it's a little more fair to Zanto as well.
As we get ready. Yeah. As we get ready for the race, rolling start, outlap starts in about 45 seconds.
I just noticed, it seems that
so we got Ruben
Bon has connected as well to the server.
Has he really?
It seems like so.
Yeah, he has.
Like Rene Bon will also be racing today. Oh man, that would be a nice little extra race. As he was part of the entry list, he was supposed to race today, but there was a few speculations if he will show up or not. And it seems like he has just showed up at the last minute. So René Bon will also be starting from the back of the grid, as he's not set a pit stop time yet. And you can see there's both me and John in the commentary booth in the Abarth, and Justin in that BMW as the safety car. And yeah, we're just gonna wait for the countdown, make it go to the race server, wait a little bit for the race server, and then the race will be almost on its way. I'm gonna quickly try see if I can do something. All right. Oh no. What have I? Oh wait. I'm gonna quickly check the stream. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Something
It's all
wrong?
good. Stream is no. Right. Shout out to RCI. I pressed the wrong button there. Anyways, RCI is the other league I broadcast for. I was gonna see if I can use a track map to show while we're waiting for the race to start, but it looks like I can't do that because it's currently on the thank you for watching scene, and yeah, I don't think that they would like me using their content here on 2S, so sorry for that if you're watching along, Mike Jones. Was a mistake, sorry. Anyways, 2 minutes for the race to start. Yeah, so yeah, while we're at it, let's mention ACC. Last race of the season next Monday. You'll be commentating, won't you, John?
I will. I'm really excited. I mean, Nürburgring is always a great track for GT3 racing. So we got a lot of good drivers. We got a good track. And the championship is still up in the air. So it's going to be a very exciting race.
Indeed it is. I think it's the Drivers' Championship is still up in the air. The Constructors' Championship is still going down to the wire. It's been really close this season. I think every race we've had over 25 drivers and nearly had a 30 driver grid every single race. It's been an amazing season so far. So you guys do not want to miss out on the last race to wrap up what's been an absolute stellar season so far. And I will be participating as a driver. Obviously, I won't be that fast because, you know, it's me. But I'm still gonna have really good fun. And it is GT3s around Nürburgring, and that is always a great recipe for an absolutely amazing race. So be sure to check in on Monday next week at 7:30 p.m. CET, so same time this race is starting, and hopefully cheer on the drivers who you want to win the championship or the Constructors' Championship, and just come and have a good time with us when that race starts. But anyways, 30 seconds left until this race gets going. You can see the two Abarths in the background there. We'll have to basically, as soon as the race starts, we have to click drive.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we have to click drive now, don't we? And then
yeah,
yeah,
and then
click
we
drive
go
now,
back to
and
pits.
then we wait until the race starts, and then we go back to the pits, as that is the only way you can be a commentator in AC. And Dragon kindly reminds me there's still 4 people that can win the Silver Championship, Dragon being one of them. So
Yeah.
you're in Vizard. Be sure to come and support him as well. Right, so it looks like the safety car is
That's
off,
good, they're
doing
good.
its thing. We're gonna have to wait a little bit. We'll see them coming into turn 1. Safety car start, obviously, so he is setting the pace, so you guys will be used to it from ACC. You just, it's an outlap, and then it's a rolling start. The drivers are used to it as well, so they know the procedure by now. And you can see them coming into turn 1 now. As soon as we can, we'll go on with Justin, who is our safety car driver today. So no pressure for Justin. Enjoy your lap, mate, and hopefully we won't see you in the barriers.
Yeah. I love those custom lights. That's such a cool feature to have.
Yeah, it really adds to the atmosphere, and also as a driver, I've been behind this safety car. It just looks amazing. It really does. And the livery made by Vito, who usually is our safety car driver, and it's really good fun. And there's some small details on it that just makes it very good. Oh, you see it already getting a little bit sideways. Yeah, Justin has it under control. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, it's always a good entertainment to see. But you can see a little detail above the left exhaust. Let's try to see if I can find it if I go on the onboards camera. So here on the left side we have an Antoine Hubert sticker, just to show support for what happened a few years ago. And although remembrance thing. Then let's see if on the right side it doesn't show. Okay, we don't have on the right side, but on the right side we have an hour sticker, if you guys are familiar with that. Yeah, it doesn't show here, so it's unfortunate. But let's go on board with Justin, shall we? See his inputs of the safety car. He's flashing lights and everything. It's really cool to see. You can see in the mirrors, you see all the Indy cars lining up, ready to push. And I think Justin's doing a good job.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
So getting all the camera time you need on TV. So, Vito, I believe he was the one who set up the lights for this car, and it works really well. The drivers obviously now starting to line up side by side as Justin will just race to the end of the... Oh, let's see if he's able to take Blanchimont. He said he's had issues in Blanchimont, let's see, and he goes a little bit wide. But it's all under control. Justin, just remember, brake a little bit more. It's not an F1 car. He is obviously an F1 driver, so he's used to just a little bit more downforce than we're seeing here. But he does go into the pits now, and this is now the cue to jump on. Oh, what happened there? Uh-oh. Alright, so it says red flag for some reason, but that's just what it always says. And now it's green flag. Ruben is going to be leading, and he's already set off, and Ruben starts the race. I'm getting really poor camera angles, I can't see anything. But in the background, they're going 3 wide already. So Medved, Santo, and it looks like Leglav going 3 wide. It looks... Oh, a little bit of a spin there with Zalvasi. So Zalvasi goes around all these spins by himself. Oh, what is all the... Where is he going? I shouldn't be laughing, but Ianida's off in the background as well. There's a lot of drivers going over Eau Rouge. Next to each other is side by side down the Camel Straight. A lot of racing going on. It's great fun to have these drivers here, and let's see what Zalvasi is able to do. It looks like Chumley on the inside is trying to make a move here, and he's getting a little bit of sideways action. Doesn't manage to spin yet, so he keeps the car under control. Still loses 2 positions from it, though, so not the most ideal situation. Velasco in the background trying to get some positions from it as well. Timo, you see, he's already made up 3 positions there already, and the DHL car is René Bon, who's also following Timo's into, but Van der Hudding has just absolutely shot off into the distance, but that is not the case with everyone behind Medved. Medved has a bit of a train behind him, as it happens in lap 1. You see René Bon going a bit off the track there, trying to get used to the car and maximize the way it drives, and let's see if anything else happens here. The 2 pink drivers of Zalvasi and Leglav still going somewhat side by side here, and looks like McCormack's actually had a brilliant start to this race.
Yeah, all the way up into P3, and yeah, like you were mentioning, these 2 pink cars, they seem to be getting away from each other now, but they were bumping wheels for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there between Leglav and I believe that is Velasco, but they all managed to survive this time through Blanchimont. That could have been
Oh, not Velasco this time. Velasco spinning a little bit on the bus stop chicane. He didn't spin all the way around though, so he was able to recover himself going across the line. Unfortunately, I'm getting some ping issues, so cars are going everywhere.
Oh, that's...
So I'm gonna have to rely on you a little bit more. Tell me.
That's fine.
If someone's actually crashing or if it's just a server.
No, he did have a little bit of an incident, that is correct. As a little bit sideways, you saw him go, but the car's already starting to get into their own rhythm now, and not running over each other as much anymore. As you see, Velasco's got a warning for cutting for some reason. Anyways, Timo Braun here, up to P7 already after starting from the back of the grid. Visser as well, right behind him in another DHL livery car. We have 2 DHL drivers today, so if your package hasn't arrived, this is why. But anyways, Bon and Visser, so actually they're right next to each other, so let's see if they produce some pretty good racing. Timo Braun goes a little bit deep there on the exit. Let's have a look at what's happening with Zalvasi, as he seems to be closing up a little bit on Forrest McCormack at the moment. Let's see if any action will happen soon. Obviously these Indy cars are not the greatest to drive. Behind each other is quite a lot of dirty air, but it is Spa after all, so there are some long straights that can make up for it, and these drivers do have 10 push to pass buttons that they can use throughout the 30 laps today. So let's see if Zalvasi will be using one of his nice team, washing out a little bit due to that dirty air. He's trying to go on board with him, see if he's able to gain enough time or get close enough to McCormack into the braking zone. Looks like he's getting pretty close. He's lining up a move in the background there. That's a huge crash from Chumley off into the wall. I'm sorry I had to jump to that one, but Salvasi does not manage to get... Well, he does manage to get past McCormack. McCormack locks up a little bit and has to... wow. So he has to now defend from Leglaff, who's going up the inside into La Source and doesn't quite look like he's been able to make the move stick, but Chumley has a huge crash there. It goes into the pit lane already, so that must have been a copium amount of damage. And Romsen says still better than PostNord, and I'm sorry to agree, but yeah, PostNord, det er ikke det bedste der derude, men det er lige meget. Anyways, Leglaff on McCormack. Is he going to send it around the outside after the Camel Straight into the next corners? It looks like he's got the move done already before, but McCormack trying again up the inside to regain that position. Does look like he actually managed to get it done. Has the inside corner from the next, inside line from the next corner, but Leglaff does manage to stay ahead of McCormack. The two Irish drivers having a brilliant scrap at the moment.
Yeah, they went side by side into that chicane after the Kimmel Straight. That was pretty impressive. I don't think they lost it at all for that entire time, just side by side following each other through.
Yeah, some really good fights that can happen here in these IndyCars. They are really fun to drive as well. It's a shame that we don't have that many drivers driving. I mean, still 13 drivers. It's a decent turnout for Spa. But yeah, I'd say it's definitely very entertaining to drive and also to watch as well, as we've seen some amazing battles throughout the season so far. And we see Timo Braun now lining up a move on McCormack. Is he using his push to pass? We're not able to tell, but it looks like he's gaining ever so slightly into Blanchimont. He's trying to go around the outside of Blanchimont and managed to keep it side by side still. No contact yet, but he does back out of it. So McCormack stays ahead for now of Timo Braun, but that's actually
looks like Timo spun a little bit.
Yes, so yeah, a little bit of a sideways action, but that's a lot of Visser to try and make a move on Timo, but Timo gets a great exit, and he's back up the rear of McCormack. He might be able to do something after the Camel Straight. Taking a little bit of a break here as a commentator, and you see Timo going over the curbs there at Rouge Radion. I think that'll be a cut warning. It is indeed. So these drivers have 4 warnings to deal with before they get a penalty. I believe the penalty is 15 seconds now and not a drive-through. But McCormack does manage to stay ahead for now, and this battle is just getting hotter by the second.
Yeah, Timo 0.3 behind McCormack. He's just staying on his tail the entire time, just in case McCormack goes wide or locks up to try and capitalize on any of those mistakes. But he's been doing a great job at trying to find a door to open. We saw him on the Kimmel Straight almost going for a move, but backing out right at the last second. And we also saw at the bus stop, lap, he was going to go for a move, but decided to brake earlier to let McCormack go by.
Yeah, Timo's definitely a very respectable racer, and he only goes for moves he knows he can pull off. So in that sense, I think Forrest knows that he can race a little bit with him and sort of keep his elbows out, and Timo probably won't go for a move. He's a bit of like his favorite driver is Valtteri Bottas, and it sort of shows sometimes. In the way he races, but anyways, I'm going to go back to the battle of the pink drivers as Leglaff gets quite sideways in the corner there. Savasi Leglaff.
Well, I want to just quickly interrupt. Rene Bond just making a move on Blascu right before bus stop chicane and able to actually lock it down. Blascu behind him now.
Well, Rene getting a little bit sideways on exit there, but he does keep ahead of him for now. As you see, Ioannidis coming back into shot there, so great overtake from Rene, as he now has to think about defending from Velasco into the corners after the Camel Straight. But I think Rene is a very experienced driver as well, so he'll know exactly what to do, and Spa is one of those tracks where practice makes perfect. Timo Braun lining up a move on Pixel. Is he able to make it stick this time around? It looks like he is, sending it up the inside, goes for the move, gets his way past up to P5, Timo Braun, starting from the back, is now starting to surmount his charge onto that podium position, which is only about 2 seconds in front of him. And this guy, I can imagine he's having quite a lot of fun in that cockpit at the moment.
Definitely. You could see from McCormick's point of view, after Timo got around him, Timo placed his car in a perfect spot in order to block Forrest McCormick from trying to come back at him. So I thought that was an incredible job from Timo on defending as soon as he got that position.
Yeah, Timo is a very wise racer, and definitely showing today indeed. And you can see he's on the alternate tires as well. Even though he started from the back, he's decided to go for the alternates. I think the alternates do last longer than most drivers are thinking. I think they do last a full fuel tank now. It has been found out. So the strategy will probably be alternates, primaries, and then alternates again, as you do have to be on both tires in order to complete valid pit stops or complete the race doing the right format. Another thing these drivers have to do is, if you qualify in the top 10, you have to use the tires you qualified on. I didn't check if all the drivers did that, but it looks like they have done, as they know that's what the case is. And most drivers seem to be on the alternates. I see Visser is on the prime tires right behind McCormick, but other than that, I don't really see anyone else.
P4 right now, Leglaf, hunting down Silvazzi, almost close to, actually, he's getting pretty close on the Kimmel straight. He's going to go for an overtake. He's going for an overtake on the inside line, going to try and cut off Silvazzi into the chicane. And he is able to do so. Let's see if he keeps that up throughout the entire thing, all the way up to No Name. He goes pretty wide, but he is able to keep that up. That was a great job from Leglaf.
Yeah, he gets a brilliant exit out of Radio and just zooms past the Silvazzi. A little bit wide there as well. He has to be careful with these track warnings, but that was brilliant stuff from the Irish driver there, making his way up to P3. That little battle though did cost Silvazzi a little bit of time, and now only 8 tenths behind him is Timo Braun, who is on an absolute flyer at the moment.
Definitely, when two cars are battling ahead and you have someone who's very quick behind, it's very easy for them to catch up, and if someone goes for an overtake, sometimes they even follow immediately after. But yeah, this will slow those two down, especially if Silvazzi tries to come back and attack again. If Leglaf has to defend, it's going to slow both of them down and allow Timo Braun to pick up his pace and get closer to them.
Yeah, this is, I think there was a little bit of a lock-up of one of the drivers, and I don't really know who it was. Were you able to catch that, John?
I wasn't. Leglaf into the pits, though. And I think Visser, Urian Visser, if he gets a good exit out of Redion, I think he's going to have a good chance at making a move on Forrest McCormick during the Kimmel Straight. He did have slight amount of correction for an oversteer out of the source, so let's see if he gets a good line.
Yeah, he's a little bit far back, almost 7 tenths behind McCormick. I don't think that's quite enough to be able to make an overtake. But
yeah,
so
even
Leglaf,
with that push to pass.
Yeah, Leglaf, the first of the pit stoppers that isn't for a reason of damage or of any source, comes out 4 seconds behind Belascu. But he comes out 40 seconds ahead of Sam Chumley. So, sorry, that has just gone down to 14 seconds. The time screen showing a little bit of a difference there. So yeah, he's the first pit stopper. I wonder if he's going for a low fuel, low fuel strategy rather than max fuel, and then low fuel for the last stint. He might not know that the alternate tires, they last the full fuel tank now. But it seems like he's going for a bit of an alternate strategy, and we did see quite a different strategies in Watkins Glen last race around, and it was quite interesting to follow. It all ended up with everyone being right next to each other at the end of the race on track with some brilliant battles, so hopefully we get to see something similar again today.
Definitely, yeah. At Watkins Glen, those pit strategies really shook things up, and I actually, thinking about it, is this our first non-American track for the season?
It is our first official non-American track. We have had a race around Kyalami, but that had to be cancelled due to an issue with the pit boxes on the track, where some drivers they just wouldn't show up for, and some drivers had no issues. So many of the drivers were not able to do a pit stop as they couldn't actually physically get the car into the pit box, so we had to cancel that race. But that was the other European track we've raced at so far. Sorry, not European, but that is the other non-American track we've raced at so far. Yeah, it's quite nice to come back to Europe as a European. I mean, you are the American here, so you get to see all the tracks that are basically in your backyard. But it's a nice change of scenery for once. Don't get me wrong, American tracks are absolutely amazing for IndyCar, but we've had the likes of Laguna Seca, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, and Road America so far in the season. Kyalami obviously was cancelled because of the pit boxes, but here we are in Europe for the first time with these IndyCars, and I do believe in real life, if they bring the IndyCars to Europe, as Salvasi almost loses the car on the exit there. Timo Braun goes up to P3. Salvasi manages to catch the car at the very end, so that is a good car control from him. But very unfortunate.
He was a little greedy on the curbs there, and it just, you go too far off the track, and you get some of that dirty, slippery, either curb or asphalt, and you immediately go into a spin. He was able to save that incredibly though, and not prevent too much damage, but Timo did get through, and it cost him a position.
Yeah, so Timo now has his next target in sights, and that is Medved. So Timo's gone from basically last to P3 at the moment, but many things can change. All it takes is one safety car to spice things up, and then you definitely have issues of some sort. Visser, still behind McCormack, gets a decent exit though. Let's try and jump on board with this camera. I think it's a pretty good camera. Gets insight of you seeing over the driver's shoulder, and you get the steering wheel inputs and everything with a bit more cinematics to it. But then, yeah, it looks like McCormack and Visser just chilling next to each other. Doesn't look like Visser's too keen on making a move. McCormack has good pace still, and doesn't seem like Visser quite has the pace to catch up to him.
Yeah, definitely. And something we do have to keep in mind here is, they're only a third of the way through the race, so this is still, it's a bit more of a marathon. Oh, Ruben Lempe have a drive-through for cutting.
Oh,
that's gonna be it's a drive-through at Spa isn't as race ruining as some other,
and that allows Bonkster, aka Oliver Stricker, to get through. But yeah, you were saying, sorry?
Yeah, so this pit lane that we have set up right now is not the longest in the world, and it's such a long lap that a drive-through isn't as terrible as it could be for like other tracks. So it's still not, you still don't want to get a drive-through penalty, but you can still live with it on here.
Yeah, for sure. And Spa, for some of you who might be confused, today we're running the short pit boxes as opposed to the full pit boxes, which you see in the likes of ACC, where Spa is one of those tracks where a drive-through you absolutely do not want to get, as it will cost you about nearly half a lap, and half a lap at Spa is huge. As you see in the background, McCormack going into the pit lane, so maybe he's trying a bit of an undercut to try and get ahead of Visser or Timo Braun, or protect his position. But Timo Braun, oh wait, what was that in the background? I heard a little bit of a lockup. Okay, no, never mind. It's just Visser having fun.
Timo is right behind Medved, and he's gonna go for a move here.
This, you know what? I think this might be a bit too early for Timo. If he cuts ahead, it looks like he's actually thinking about staying on the outside, not using full power to his strength. Excuse me. But somehow, even with that exit, he doesn't get ahead of Medved. So Medved must have used a push to pause or something to stay ahead, and Timo was not able to get the position. So there's a good fight between those two drivers. Timo might think second well, think twice before trying to make an overtake next time up around Camel Straight if he needs to use push to pass himself.
Yeah, push to pass can be a really, really beneficial tool for drivers, not only for overtaking, but also defending from overtakes, especially on a straight. It's very interesting that, this is something that Indy cars have, but, for people who are mostly familiar with Formula One, DRS is only used offensively and not really defensively. At least that's not its intention, but push to pass can be very much used defensively.
Yeah, it's just as much as a lifesaver as it is an overtaking tool, and that is a perfect example we saw right here with Medved, and that is Ruben Lampe letting the two drivers pass. He does have blue flags, so he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. As Timo Braun actually goes into the pits, or sorry, Timo Braun, as he had a bit of a go at me for not pronouncing his name correctly, so I guess I will from now on. He pronounces my name in a German way, and he is from Germany, so I guess I have to say Timo Braun.
Force McCormick retiring from the race. I don't know what's going on there.
I'll have a quick look.
He was doing an incredible race.
It looks like, well, something's happened with him. He said he's added extra liters to be safe for his pit strategy, but maybe it looks like he might have run out of fuel or something, or something's got wrong in his pit stops. At least something's not gone his way, and his car did not have the fuel it needed to complete the race. That's very unfortunate indeed, and he's the first of the DNFers today, and it's a sad sight to see.
Oh, and Bongster's into the wall too.
Bongster? Oh, well, I guess it's part of the name.
Into the wall, and he's actually not moving.
So,
yeah.
My twin brother doing
hopefully
his best impressions of me driving as well, so it runs in the family, I guess you can say. But here we go, Ioannidis. Oh no, Ioannidis into the back of Van der Hooding. Oh no. He's just come out of the pit lane. And that is quite an unfortunate incident there. These two drivers collided on Monday as well, again with the blue flag conditions, but I don't think this was under blue flags. I think Van der Hooding has come out the pits, and Ioannidis just happened to be there, and they both collide. So that was not necessary contact that was, but Van der Hooding seems to have saved his car, and lives to fight for another day.
Where did they collide?
Sort of they collided into No Name, I believe it was.
Wow.
So quite unfortunate indeed to see that might have cost Van der Hooding a little bit, as Timo Braun is only 5 seconds behind him now, and it was 8 seconds when the pit stops came out.
Yeah. And it looks like Bongster's having a really rough time. He spinning at the looks like the start finish.
Yeah, Bongster he's not had too much practice in this car, so I understand why he's struggling. It's also quite a difficult car to drive, and that's also maybe one of the reasons why people tend to not show up so much, because you need quite a lot of practice to be able to quicken it. And Bongster is only today he realized, oh yeah, I guess I'll race as a reserve driver, so that's what he has decided to do, and he's out here providing entertainment in the best way he can, so that's always something to tip my hats off for.
The gap between Medved, Visser, and the rest is 20 seconds, but Medved and Visser still have yet to pit, I believe.
I'm just catching up in the chat, and it looks like Pixel says he put extra fuel in just to be safe, but the pit fuel estimation in the game was incorrect, as he ran out of fuel while in the pit lane, and that is heartbreaking indeed. That is, you're so close to get new fuel in, and you just run out. That's a real shame, Pixel. That my heart goes out to you, because you were having a pretty good race up until then, and that is heartbreaking to hear.
Yeah, just being that close to being able to continue the race and having it taken from you, that's very unfortunate. I always tend to just do a little bit more fuel than I think I need, purely for that reason that sometimes the game is not the most accurate. But when you do something like that, you do add more weight that could be unnecessary. So you really just got to play the game. And more weight means you'll be heavier, which means you'll be slower. So if you want to be fast, you got to play that risky game. But yeah, we see a lot of people going to the pits right now. Both Visser, Medved, Ioannidis, and Blascu.
Yeah, so these are the last of the pit stoppers. I believe they have been the drivers on a full tank, so 14 laps on a full tank, which means we'll be seeing a two-stopper this race, and Timo Braun sort of in a bit of a mix here with drivers just come up the pit lane. I believe there's someone who's got blue flags though, so that shouldn't be the biggest issue for him. But Medved, crucially, stays ahead of Timo Braun. Oh, actually, never mind. That is not a blue flag. That is Visser, who's actually had a brilliant pit stop. Is he able to maybe put a charge on Timo Braun and make an overtake into the corners up ahead? It doesn't look like it, but he is close the gap to Timo, and he is right into this fight for a P3 position here.
And Rene Bon, I think, has retired to the pits after crashing. So I think that's going to be a DNF for him.
Oh, that's a shame for Rene, but at least he showed up and gave it his all today. Oh, sideways. As always, there is leg left in these cars, so you can see how twitchy they are to drive. I saw Romza in the AC chat saying Spa actually looks like a fun track to drive, and I'm sure these drivers are having an absolute blast hot lapping this circuit, but yeah, there's only so much. Oh, Ioannidis off into the wall. Not quite sure what happened there. He was very close to Blascu. Blascu doesn't seem like there was contact or anything, so maybe there was, I'm not sure, but he was in the wall, so he's gotten his car pointing this right way again, and hopefully is able to have a bit of a cleaner race from here on out. Timo Braun only 2/10 behind Medved. Is this the time where he will do the overtake on Medved, or is he going to back out of it like he's done before? His previous overtakes about to go on board. Okay, looks like he's going for the outside. Medved has the inside though. It breaks a little bit later. Timo will have to stay behind for now. Try and get a better exit out of the bus stop chicane into La Source. Who is going to be the driver in P2? I believe Medved has it covered for now. Visser in the background just waiting patiently for these two drivers to maybe have a bit of an incident or go wide or something. Then he will take both the positions. But Timo applying the pressure he needs for that P2 position that Medved is currently holding.
If he can nail this exit out of Eau Rouge, then let's see if he can catch up to Medved, or if Medved's gonna try and defend. He's getting close. He's running out of track though.
Yeah, last of the late breakers is Timo. As he go too deep, it doesn't look like he managed to get the overtake done around the outside. Brilliant move from Timo. Medved slots down into P3, Timo up to P2. Visser right behind now, looking very racy as well. Is he going to try and move around the outside into No Name? I'm not quite sure if he's able to make that stick though. He's giving it his all. On the alternate tires, Visser a little bit sideways, keeps it out the wall, just drifting around the corners. Silvasti's going to pick up a position due to this. Somehow Visser manages to keep it out of the wall. Absolutely crazy save there by Visser, but he just got a bit too eager on the loud pedal, and that shows that is the consequence of doing so. But wow, what a save from Visser, keeping that out the wall. I have no idea how he's done that.
Definitely, that was pretty good. It cost him a position, but it didn't cost him his race. And Leglaff getting a drive-through penalty for cutting. But yeah, I just wanted to touch real quick on Timo's overtake, because he committed. I didn't know if he used a pusher pass or not, but he was able to get up alongside him. He chose the outside line, which for that corner is very interesting. He was able to get ahead, and the critical part was he was able to outbrake him. Medved into the corner broke first, and Timo waited as long as possible before he was able to brake, and he didn't lock up his tires, which is critical to that overtake. So incredible job by Timo. I'm starting to sound like a Timo fan, so I might tone it down a little bit. I don't want him to get too giddy.
I mean, you're his co-commentator for the Monday ACC series, so I can understand you want to support him, and I love how every time we see a shot of one of the drivers in the top 5 going down the start-finish straight, we see in the background Bonkster sliding out of the bus stop chicane without fail, and it's just a little bit of extra fun to see him handling that car. It's very difficult to drive, but I think he's having an absolute blast. That is the way Ollie drives. He drives with fun first, and then the results later.
Definitely, yeah. As we see, Yuri and Visser getting ever so closer to Silvassi on No Name. Still not close enough to think about an overtake, but with time, if he can close off that gap, then he'll be able to start thinking about gaining a position up to 4th.
Yeah, we saw earlier he has quite a lot of pace in him. With that little mistake he made, though, it did cost him in the place of Silvassi. But Silvassi seems to be just at the moment just slightly slower on track. I don't know if Visser has enough of a gap, like pace-wise, to be able to commit to an overtake, or if he just has to stay behind for now. As the 30 yards washing him out a little bit, but he is getting pretty close. I wonder how many pushes to pass he has left. You can't see that anywhere. But 4 tenths at the start. Before Blanchimont, it'll be about 3 times after Blanchimont. Is he able to do something to bust him? Looks like he's just a bit too far away to start thinking about it now. Thank you for that camera angle, by the way. But anyways, he slots in behind Silvassi for now, and yeah, he's just going to continuously apply the pressure, and then hopefully, he's going to hope for Silvassi to crack under pressure. And I believe I heard all these tires spinning like crazy in the background there. Into the corner, but it doesn't really matter. What we really care about is this battle between Silvassi and Visser.
Definitely coming up on the Kimmel Straight. Visser right behind him. If he can get a better exit than him and maybe use a push to pass, he's lining up on the left. He's trying. I mean, you see in the movies they press a little bit harder and then they press a little bit harder, but you know, in real life.
It still looks like he's got the overspeed. Not quite done yet, though, that overtake, as they're going side by side. A little bit of contact. As Silvassi manages to keep it out the wall, but Visser does go up to P4 now. So he has made his way back to P4, and he now has 3 seconds of a gap to close down to get that podium position. That was very tight between Silvassi and Visser. A little bit of touching wheels, and Silvassi does manage to catch the car. But as you were saying, it's like in the movies. He's just shifted into another gear that somehow he found in the gearbox. Pressed the pedal down even further, and away he goes around the outside of Silvassi. So great little battle between those two drivers.
Yeah, that was almost exactly what we saw a few laps ago from Timo Braun, but Timo was just able to get that much further ahead. As we saw just now, Visser going side by side with Silvassi until he was able to eventually take the position. We are a little more than halfway through the race now, and Timo Braun is 4 seconds behind Ruben van der Hutting, hunting him down. Ruben trying to keep his position, trying to keep that gap clear. And so far, actually, my lap times are, my intervals are going a little crazy now. So, yeah, okay. That's what I thought. It flashed 2 seconds for a split second, but yeah, they're still about 4 seconds between each other. And then Medved is behind Timo with a little bit more than a second behind.
Yeah, and it looks like Timo is the guy on track at the moment with the most pace, but Van der Hutting is also not one to discount at the moment. They're matching lap times very closely to each other, so Ruben just has to keep it clean. 4 seconds is quite a lot to catch in the last few, well, not last, in the 12 laps. But Timo has done crazier things before, so it's definitely possible. And Ruben, all it takes is one mistake from either driver, and that is the P1 position taken away. But it looks like Timo is slowly but surely catching, so we'll have to keep an eye on this battle for P1 if it does end up happening eventually. And also, while this is happening, Visser is catching up to Medved, so that's another battle I'm looking forward to seeing if that ever does happen on this track. Let's jump to Van der Hutting for a little bit, as we haven't really said much about him, but that's sometimes a good thing when you're racing and your commentators didn't say much, apart from a little contact with Ioannidis, or Ioannidis, I don't know. He has been just leading the race with those pretty safe gaps so far, and I'd say Ruben, in that beautiful Rebellion car, having a brilliant race so far.
Definitely, he's kind of been, other than the contact with Ioannidis, he's definitely been just kind of cruising by himself. For most of it, he's been having a comfortable gap behind him, and just kind of worrying about himself. He got a little bit of a snap oversteer there, but he was able to save it right after bus stop. But yeah, he's really just, I think he's worrying about his tactic, and he's worrying about his pace. He doesn't have anybody that he's fighting against, so there's no one to really hinder him from good laps. As we see, actually, Timo already a half a second quicker, or a half a second closer at 3.5 seconds. So he is slowly closing that gap between him and Ruben Ben Hutting.
Yeah, it looks like Van Hutting's tires are a little bit more worn down than Timo's. Obviously, we had that contact earlier with Ioannidis, or Ioannidis, I think it is. Yeah, that might not have helped his case or helped his car of any sort. But it doesn't look like there's too much damage, but obviously these cars can pick up damage that is not visual when there is contact. So maybe he has some sort of damage he's dealing with. But he's doing still a great job. Timo is catching up, but so is Medved, as Medved's gap is not really closing to Timo. So we could be seeing a three-way battle for the lead here, if not a four-way battle, as Visser is also catching up to Medved.
Definitely, and Silvassi also kind of far away, but not so far that it's out of the question. And then behind him, Leglaf, Ioannidis, Chumley, Velasquez, Lampa, and Bongster taking up the rear.
Yeah, I'm going to go on board with Bongster for a little bit. It's just as I cut him, you see him going way too deep into no name. So he's having a good time, but that might have actually been a blue flag that he's letting pass. So maybe it was on purpose that he did that. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to ride on board with him for a little while, see what he's up to.
And we see fairly consistent lap times as well from everyone. It looks like a server personal best of 154 from, I think that was Visser.
So Visser setting a lap time that is almost identical to the lap time of the P2 position in qualifying in race specs. So Visser's absolutely flying at the moment. Very good stuff from him. You see Timo has closed that gap down to just 3 seconds now. We have a battle brewing on our hands as Silvassi and Leglaf both head into the pits. But what we're interested in right now is to see how Bongster navigates this bus stop chicane. Will he be spinning? No, it is Ioannidis in front of him that will be spinning. That was a bit of a, I can imagine a bit of a shock for Ollie, but he does manage to navigate his way around fine enough. And I guess you can say Chumley manages to get his way past Ioannidis because of that spin. Let's see where Ioannidis is. He's okay. He's got his car pointing in the right direction again, so he is still racing as it is. I thought he might have gone to the pits after that spin, but anyways, back to Visser. He's now within 1 second of Medved.
I'm just trying to see Ioannidis' sponsor. I think he is sponsored by someone called Firebridge.
Ah. Yes,
which
his livery is,
I guess is a mix between Firestone and
Bridgestone.
Or sorry, what is it? Bridgestone
and Firestone. No, you're correct. Firestone and Bridgestone.
Is it Firestone?
Yeah. But anyways,
oh, wow.
Visser trying around the outside of the bus stop chicane on Medved and somehow gets his car in there, get a little bit of contact with Medved, he goes a little bit sideways and he has to do all that work all over again. So two cars colliding at the end of the bus stop chicane, not ideal, but Visser goes down into P3 as Van der Hutting does go into the pit lane, so that will be his last pit stop of the race. Will he come out in front of Silvassi? I think he will, as there's quite a big gap to Silvassi, and that is going to give a lot of clean air for Van der Hutting to drive in, but also, it's going to allow him to do an undercut, which is something that he will be looking for. But anyways, Ioannidis' car, yes, you were saying about the livery. It's a livery created by the modders.
Is it really?
So the VRC group that have created this Indycar mod have created this livery, which is why you see counterfeit sponsorships on it.
Yeah, I noticed you said the DHL livery, and I was going to say, whoa, for copyright. Oh!
Well, okay, that is one way to enter the pit lane.
I guess they could do Firebridge, but if they also wanted to combine those two companies a different way, they could just have it say Stone.
Stone. Stone, the IndyCar tire manufacturer. That is
Yeah.
that would be quite
It's like
funny.
Moon.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers that internet trend, like
I do.
5-6 years ago.
Oh, good old Moon. Was the
Yep.
husky, wasn't it, or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was like your wolf name and someone's name. It was like you take your month that you were born and maybe like your last name or something like that, and each one correlates with like some like lunar tooth or something like that, and someone's name was Moon.
I do remember that trend. I do remember that was the thing. So another reason to watch 2S streams, you get a lot of meme history in this stream. So it's not just the racing we talk about; it's all
Meme
sorts.
nostalgia.
Meme nostalgia, Moon. Yeah, I do remember that now. That is what a throwback that is. Anyway, Timo Braun into the pits. Where is he gonna come out compared to Van den Hudding?
He did spin, not spin. Well, he like did like a half spin at the bus stop and was able to catch it, but it did cost him a little bit of time. So we'll see where he ends up. This is his second and final pit stop of the race, and I think he's one of the first to do this final pit stop. I think there was only one or two other guys.
Yeah, so Van der Hudding's already done this pit stop. Timo Braun does come out with 2.5 seconds between them, but he still has to heat those tires up, so I do think that gap is going to come back down to 3 seconds, which it was earlier. But so Van der Hudding does manage to stay ahead. Now it's just an all-out sprint until the end of the race. And I'm just looking at the stream chat. Legenden says, Moon is my spirit animal. And, well, I think he was everyone's spirit animal back in the day. Thank you for watching along, Leighton.
Yeah, Ruben knows he's going to have to defend against Timo for the rest of this race, so I'm sure he's fighting like hell. He's got 19 seconds, not including the back markers, ahead of him, and I'm sure he'll be able to, I'm sure he'll be wanting to utilize all of that clean, open air for himself in order to get ahead. Velasquez actually losing position to Ioannidis.
Did you see what happened there? Was a good overtake? Or was this?
I think it was a lockup, actually.
Okay. So mistake from Velasquez allows Ioannidis to make his way through again and back up to P8 after losing out to that. I'm just quickly. There's a battle brewing between Bongster and Lampert. This is going to be an interesting one. Oh, I cut to. Oh, Ollie! No, he's into the wall. Huge crash.
Oh no!
And that is gonna be absolutely. Oh no! Just as I cut to him, he slides on the exit of Pujon into the wall. Massive accident.
That was massive.
And he is, his hands will be shaking from pain. I doubt that was a very pleasant crash. He's gonna feel that in his neck tomorrow, that is for sure. Safety car not deployed for that one, but I think that could have been a potential safety car deployed. But anyways, Medved actually manages to jump Timo Braun in the pit lane, so Medved is back up to P2 and right behind Van der Hudding. This race just got turned up a little bit for Timo Braun, and he's lost out of position there.
If Medved and Van Hudding start fighting, though, they could suffer a little bit with Timo so close on their tail.
Indeed, and I think Timo is seeing his opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And just talking real quick about Bongster's little accident, it looked like he got a little bouncy on the runoff, and that caused him to lose stability in his car and just completely crash into the side of the barrier. That was probably the hardest crash we've seen this whole race.
Maybe
I'm sure he'll be visiting the medical center after this race. Oh, and Medved spinning, giving Timo a position.
It's not ideal, but while that was happening, I was on board with Velasquez and Ioannidis, and they were both colliding and spinning at the same time. I actually thought that was what you were reacting to, but Ioannidis makes his way past Velasquez in a bit of a contact overtake. Medved spinning. That is very important. You've got to remember, the tires are cold for the first lap, but I think he's just pushed too hard too early, and he is back down to that P4 position. He's going to be kicking himself a little bit for that mistake. That is going to allow Timo to catch up to Van den Hudding, but Visser is now into the pit lane. Is he able to get out in this mix? Because he was running right behind Medved when Van den Hudding was pitting. So there might be a chance for Visser to get out. We'll have to go on board. Well, we'll have to go on board with Van der Hutting.
Ruben van der
where he
Hutting
is.
Yeah, they're both exiting the bus stop chicane at the start finish as Van der Hutting passes and it's a Visser having a horrible time getting out of the pits. It looks like he was having issues with his car, and he's ending up behind Medved, and Silvassi is gonna be right behind him, about 2.73 seconds. He's having trouble getting out of first gear, it looks like.
So Visser not having the best pit stop there, and it actually looks like Silvassi is going to overtake him, coming up to Rouge. So,
I think he might have killed his car. Yeah, he wasn't able to get out of first gear, and it looks like he might have destroyed his. Oh!
Does he get the car moving again?
Yeah, it's slowly going.
Slowly but surely. Does he look?
Something's not wrong with it.
Something is not going right, and he DNFs right there on the spot. So that is Visser out of the race. I don't know what happened there. Maybe he blew his engine or something, or forgot to put some fuel in under the pit stop. But that's going to promote Chumley up to P5.
Yeah, and that gets a bit of weight off of the top guys. Ruben, Braun, Timo, and Medved aren't going to have to worry about him anymore. Unfortunately, that is a bad way to leave the race. I do feel bad for Visser. I don't know what happened. It did probably look like a fuel issue. I'm sure we'll find out at some point.
Yeah, Visser.
But yeah, initially I thought he blew his engine, but he was revving by the time right before he DNF'd. So I don't think it was an engine issue. It might have been a fuel issue.
Yeah, it's sometimes a bit difficult with these pit stops, and you get a bit carried away of driving, and then you enter the pit stops and you realize, oh wait, I need to add some fuels. But Lasko actually leaves the session as well, so he has DNF'd here as on the same lap as Jurien Visser. So I wonder what's happened there for him. But there was that contact early on with Leonidas, and maybe that has something to do with why he has left the session. But I doubt that's the reason. There must be another reason as well. Shout out to Bongster. He is still driving. He is still rocking it hard. He's actually right behind Leonidas. Leonidas obviously is the car in front, so if he wants to, he is allowed to unlap himself if he feels he is faster, but he has to do so in a safe manner. And well, the way he's been driving so far in this race, he's been providing absolutely brilliant entertainment. It's been great to watch, and right as I say that, he's getting a drive-through penalty for cutting the corners. So his race is going from bad to worse. Oh man.
And with 5 laps left in the race, Timo Braun did have less than a second on Ruben van der Hutting, but a little meet and greet with a sausage curb had him a little unstable, and he's now a little bit over 1 second, and he getting an excellent exit out of that last left-hander. He's actually less than a second now. We'll see how he's doing for the end of this race. He has 5 laps to try and catch up and overtake Ruben van der Hutting. You know, catching up with him, he's actually having no problem with, but overtaking him, that's a whole other ballpark. He's getting to only half a second. We'll see how he does. I personally think that next time they meet up at Redigon and Eau Rouge on the Camel Straight, I think that could be an overtaking opportunity.
It definitely looks like his team. It does look like he has more pace. Dragon in the chat saying his engine said boom out of nowhere. So now we know what happened to Visser. Maybe just revving it too hard on the pit start or something. These car engines can blow up. They're a little bit sensitive. I wonder if he's running the Honda or Chevrolet spec, as Ruben gets a little bit sideways on the exit there of La Source. But it gets his power down well enough, so it looks like he's just done enough to keep Timo Braun behind. Bongster into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Still hasn't overtaken Visser on track, so Visser, who DNF'd about 3 minutes ago, is still ahead of Bongster in this race by kilometers driven. So that's a little bit of a funny stat there, but he's serving his drive-through. He's now 4 minutes, nearly 2 laps behind the guy in front of him, but he's having a great time out there as he's I think and there it is. I think he spun on the pit exit, had a crash, and now has decided to retire. So that is the end of Ollie's regime here on Spa with the Indycar, but thank you for providing some good entertainment for us, Aldi. We love to see it.
Timo only 0.3 seconds behind Ruben van der Hutting. This is getting very spicy indeed between the two of them. Becoming less than 4 laps left. He is right on the back of Ruben. Ruben has to defend with his life for the last few laps of the race if he wants to keep P1.
I think Timo is not going to leave anything on the table for this one, so he is only 2 tenths behind. Is he going to activate his push to pass? Looks like he is, but it also looks like Van der Hutting is using his push to passes up well. I think Van der Hutting has enough push to pass to last to the end of the race, as he hasn't really had to use them at all during this race, but Timo is inching slowly but surely closer. It looks like he's not getting close enough to make a move into the bus stop, so Ruben does survive for this lap, but he's going to have to work a little bit harder to keep Timo behind, because Timo is definitely on a massive charge at the moment. But while this is happening, Medved does a 1:54.2, so that is an absolutely blistering lap time there for Medved, catching up to the guys ahead. We could see a 3-way battle for the lead here in the last lap.
Definitely. If Medved keeps up his pace, he can catch up to them pretty quickly. Half a second behind Ruben is Timo. It's looking like it's too far away right now, but I'm sure Timo's not going to give him any breathing room.
Yeah, not able to get close enough down the Camel Straight, so it looks like Ruben has managed to cover off Timo until the back straight at least. While this is happening, Medved seems to have made a mistake somewhere. I was actually speaking of mistakes. Ruben locks up. Timo gets right up behind his rear wing, and it doesn't look like he's able to make a move. But that was a bit of a mistake that Timo was hoping for, just pushing him a bit over his own limits. And that is all you need sometimes in the IndyCar. So we call it in iRacing, it happens quite often, and we call it a mind punt, where you pretend you're going to go up the inside, don't go for it, but the driver gets distracted and then misses the braking point, and then you still get an open position there. But I sort of think that's what Timo's going for a little bit here, but Ruben still manages to stay ahead. Medved's also catching up to these guys now as they're fighting. This is going to be a great battle to end the race. We saw one at the last race we had, and we're seeing one now for the P1 position. Timo now a bit closer than he was last time around. Is he able to make the move stick? It looks like he's trying to go around the outside of Blanchimont. They're still going side by side into the bus stop. It looks like Van der Hutting stays ahead just enough. Timo backs out of it, so he still has to try and fight back, but Ruben locks up a little bit, gets a pretty poor exit into La Source, gets a little bit sideways as well. What is Timo able to do? He's not quite close enough to do anything into La Source, but he's trying to maximize his exit here. See, going all the way to the left side of the track, as there's a little bit of a spin there, but Van der Hutting keeps it on track. Absolutely great battle going on at the moment. Medved closing up really fast to these guys now, as Ruben does manage to survive and stay in P1 for now, and this is going to be an absolutely great battle. Timo, will he have the run out of Eau Rouge? Doesn't look like he's close enough to do anything for now, so 2 laps to go. Ruben van der Hutting doing an absolutely amazing job of defending from Timo.
That was incredible, especially, we saw going into the bus stop, I think Timo wanted to back out. We saw him brake pretty early, even earlier than normal, I think. And I think he wanted to push a mistake from Ruben's side, but also we saw him go over to the left to try and maximize his exit out of bus stop to see if he can possibly overtake him on the start finish.
Yeah, that was definitely great racing tactics from both drivers, and keeping it clean as well. The cars are getting sideways, but they're catching it, and that is always great to see. Medved catching up in the background as well. He's only 1.6 seconds behind them now. He's going to be encouraging more and more battles between these two drivers, as he could pick up a win here if this continues and there's heartbreak or some sort between the two drivers ahead of him. So, oh man, I'm excited to see what the end result of this race is going to bring. Timo trying yet again. He has to be careful using his push to passes. I don't know how many he has left, but it looks like him and Ruben are both using one yet again in the slipstream. He's not able to get close enough. Ruben is still able to stay ahead, so Timo has to just wait behind him just a little longer in order to make that overtake. We're on to the second last lap of the race, or the penultimate lap. Ruben has 2 laps to defend from Timo, and by the looks of it, he knows what he's doing, and Timo has to just push that extra harder. we could see a last lap plunge into the bus stop chicane here. As Timo makes a little bit of mistake, Ruben actually gets a slight bit of breathing space, which is more than half a second between the two drivers, and hasn't been that far away from each other in quite some laps.
And Gasper Medved is now less than a second behind Timo, so this is definitely going to come right down to the wire for the 1, 2, 3 position. All of these podium positions are due to are going to be very, very able to get shaken up in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, Medved here running the Alonso helmet from 2009 as well, which is the ING sponsoring on top, as he is a Fernando Alonso fan. His livery also representing the Renault of, well, his own Renault Twingo, and I think it's just quite a lot of fun. Anyways, you can see the onboard that both Medved and Timo within half a second now of, well, Medved within half a second of Timo within half a second of Van der Hooding. Three-way battle, it's now officially become for the lead, as Timo gets really close to Van der Hooding in the corners he needs to. He needs to focus on his exit down the straight into Blanchimont, and maybe this time around he will be able to make the overtake. But he also now has to be careful. One little mistake trying to overtake, and Medved has that P2 position.
As we come up to the bus stop chicane for the second to last time, Timo 0.2 seconds behind Ruben and closing. Got an awesome exit. He's going on the outside into the bus stop chicane. Let's see if he's able to get ahead. He is. There's a little bit of contact, a little bit of hustling around. Timo takes the cut out of the bus stop, and he is back into second place. The leader is on the final lap. We have 1 lap to go this race at Spa.
Absolutely.
It looks like that kind of
It's,
definitely. I think that kind of frazzled the two of them.
Yeah, it looks like a Timo going for the outside. Van der Hooding saying, "Thank you very much. I'm taking this inside yet again. I am not giving up this position." Fighting for his life he is. And Medved in the background just encouraging the two drivers to collide. But they're on the final lap now. This battle is so hot. It's not been. Please don't.
Medved is 0.2 behind and closing on Timo. They are side by side. Ooh.
Medved going around the outside, maybe trying to get his way past Timo. Timo has the inside for the next corner, but Medved has the overspeed on him. He gets his way past Timo Braun. So Timo Braun loses a position to Medved on the last lap. Is he able to regain that one back? Almost surely the win has gone from Timo Braun. He will be furious in that cockpit. Medved will be celebrating. Van der Hooding will be celebrating, as he's just got a little bit of breathing room with these two guys fighting behind him. But can Medved now do what Timo Braun can't? Or couldn't, and is he able to take the position from Ruben van der Hooding? Looks like he's just a bit too far behind, but we have to see by the end of the bus stop chicane who is going to be leading this race. Absolute brilliant battle by these 3 drivers here, and they are closing in. Van der Hooding seems to be struggling a little bit in this sector. We'll have to see. 5 tenths between them, 3 tenths now. Great exit by Medved. Is he able to do an absolute major send into the bus stop chicane on the final lap to take that P1 position? We'll have to wait and see.
As we see Sam Chumley doing a server personal best of a 154.64.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt. He's going for it around the outside. Ruben spins with each other in a bunch of contact.
They all spin it!
And
Contact!
Medved is the one who survives this contact. Van der Hooding spinning because he's too late in the brakes. Has to let Timo Braun go. Timo Braun gets P2 position. Van der Hooding gets P3 after losing the car under braking into the bus stop chicane. So that is Medved winning the race. What an absolute brilliant race he's had. Medved, congratulations to the winner of this race. What a finish the race that was. Silvassi almost looks like he's crawling through the bus stop chicane, coming home in P4. A little bit of a overspeed on the exit there. Leg left, still going into Blanchimont now. We'll have to see. Oh wow, Timo, Medved and Van der Hooding, what a race they produced at the end, and what a break into the final lap. It looks like Medved on the outside just had the overspeed, oh wow, leg left spinning all over the place. He's done with this race, well and truly. Chumley coming into the final few corners now. He's sort of been not the greatest race for him, but he's been vibing, I'd say, and yeah, he's comes home in a solid P6. Ioannidis 37 seconds behind. If possible, it's not possible. I was hoping we could maybe get a replay of that finish But
I definitely want to see
safety
that
car
again.
spinning around. Look at this, the safety car celebrating. What a finish that was.
I think that I don't think you could really blame any of them. I didn't really see who was quote unquote to blame for that bus stop incident right before the crossing the finish line, but I mean, all of them extremely desperate to get ahead of the person in front of them, and it looks like someone
Oh,
is crossing the finish line backwards.
So as Ruben Lampert spinning on the final bus stop corner, he's like, "Alright, I'm doing this backwards," and Ian the last driver to cross the line there in P7. But I think I have to agree with you. It doesn't look like anyone was at major fault there. It looks like Medved is just he outbrakes Van den Hudding into the bus stop chicane on the outside. Van den Hudding locks up his brakes, loses his car under braking. There was no contact between the two drivers, so that is a driver inflicted. So I doubt there'll be a penalty for that. But then, obviously, while Van der Hudding is losing control, Timo Braun happens to collide with Van der Hudding, and they both go off track. But Van der Hudding gets a P3 position, Timo Braun gets a P2. So at the end of the day, I feel like it balanced out fairly, anyways. But what a finish to a race that was.
Definitely, that was just nail biting right to the end. I think that was one of the best races of the season so far.
Yeah, I can imagine the drivers will be either absolutely ecstatic or absolutely furious. I can't see it being any other way. But we had a brilliant finish to the race last race, and we had a brilliant finish to this race. And as you said, I think this is definitely one of the highlights of the season, because it just goes to show how good these IndyCars are to race with each other, and how far these drivers are willing to go to get the results they want. Obviously, the FIA will have a look at the incidents and all that, but from what I saw, it doesn't look like anyone's at fault, apart from driver inflicted and just unfortunate timing for Timo to get collected by Van der Hudding spinning. But absolutely brilliant race. I loved this race. This was great fun to commentate.
Definitely. And thank you guys for watching as well. Hope you found it entertaining, or as entertaining as we thought it was. It was quite the race today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm just catching up with the chat, and as Ruben says, he lost it under braking himself. Medved feels like he's responsible for the incident, but Ruben's out here telling him it is not his fault in any way, shape, or form. And Timo says he has no idea what happened, but what a finish that was to the race. Great entertainment, and I highly recommend anyone who is interested in joining IndyCar League to have a look in the description. We have a Discord link to join our Discord. We also race on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays being ACC, Tuesdays being F1, and then also Sundays for F1. So if you're interested in any other of those, please feel free to join as well. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And hopefully we'll see you guys in the next race. Goodbye.